All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Wike and suspended Governor Fubara have said peace has returned to Rivers State after a reconciliation meeting with Tinubu. Now, the mainstream media is awash with similar updates. That has been the case since Fubara and Wike met with Tinubu last night. But here is the thing: peace has returned at the expense of who? Is it at the expense of the people? Because we all know why the fight started in the first place. The fight started when Fubara chose the people over Wike. Wike was asking for too much from the state's allocation, and Fubara said, "No, sir, this is too much. What will be left for the people?" And that was the beginning of their feud. Now they have made up. It is important to ask what changed. And if we are to be honest, Fubara must have simply agreed to give Wike and Tinubu a huge chunk of Rivers allocation at the expense of the people. All that Fubara refused to give that led to this war is now being forced out of him using the Supreme Court and the presidential seat. This is not justice, and there can't be peace in the absence of justice. The people will be denied all the lofty dividend of democracy that Fubara planned for them, all because our democracy has failed. What a tragedy. Will Nigeria ever be able to restore democracy in this nation? That is left to be seen. Now, let us look at the top stories. World Bank released a statement hours ago that shamed Tinubu and APC. Every Nigerian needs to see this to know how badly this country has fallen. Concurrently, fear gripped Nigerians as Tinubu signed a controversial bill into law. If our fears turn out to be true, I have no words to describe the level of hardship that will fall upon this country. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video.
This is my driver's license, which I got last year, 2024, for the sum of 10,000 naira. For me to renew this driver's license in 2027, I will have to pay 15,000 naira. And if I choose to renew for 5 years, I will now have to pay 21,000 naira from 15,000 naira. For car owners, you have to pay 30,000 naira to get your number plate from the initial 18,750 naira. While this amount might not necessarily be big for private car owners, it is not the same for commercial car drivers who have to be on the road to feed their families.
Commercial number plates will also cost the same 30,000 naira. This upward increase was approved by the Joint Tax Board in May 2025. For motorists requiring fancy number plates, they will now pay 400,000 naira from the initial 200,000 naira, a whopping 100% hike. For motorcycle number plates, it's almost over 120%, from 5,000 naira to 12,000 naira. Some motorists bemoan the high cost of obtaining or renewing driver's license and getting the new number plate.
It's not up to a month that I paid for driver's license to renew for 5 years. I renewed it 19,000. Leave it as it is. Because the pace is too much. A hardship in this country is too much. Let them leave it as it is. This pace is not only for me, it's for the whole country. I'm feeling it personally. My heart is bleeding because of that pain.
The issue of this plate number issue, actually we the poor masses now, we the suffer and pass. Because the increments of this plate number and the driver license, definitely, you know, before we normally use like 3,000 something to renew license. Once they don't increase them to 12,000, 13,000, and then 5 years, you see they say that 18,000. Actually, even although if the cost of production have go high, at least they're supposed to look, we the poor masses, how much is our salary, how much with the benefits.
We work no day, because you come from money to even no go being see customer. So if you want to increase the money now, I go see people go renew this. Before you go get the money, no be small wahala. I think you want make them live and like that. Even when day before people, they no get money to go and renew. Some go say in In paper, I don't expire. No money to go renew. Money to buy for man wahala now.
The Joint Tax Board has, however, defended the increase. It says the increase is as a result of the newly introduced enhanced security features and rising production costs. So, as it is, it's an amount which may not come down soon. If the situation in Nigeria, where rising inflation determines a lot. So, motorists in Nigeria just have to live with it.
You saw that. Now, ever since this government came into power, over 2 years now, we haven't experienced any reduction in price. No single commodity known to us has reduced in price. Instead, prices have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and even worse in some cases. Some APC supporters will put the blame on market forces. But then the same government has gone ahead to increase the cost of things that are not affected by market forces. Things like driver's license, vehicle number plates. They increase import duties like 6 times or 7 times under Tinubu now, making life worse for the people. And when they make motorists pay more for all these things, the burden falls back on the commuters. It falls back on us. When they raise import duties, importers will drastically increase the prices of commodities. And who bears the brunt? It is we, the consumers. This is just outrageous. A government treating its own people in this kind of heartless manner. And that takes us to our top stories. First is Tinubu signing of the controversial tax reform bill into law, a move that has generated debates across the country. And next is that disgraceful report coming from World Bank. This report completely shocked Nigerians. Let's start by taking that update from the tax reform bill. Look at how the papers reported it. Fiscal policy. VAT remains 7.5%. CIT 30% as Tinubu signs tax reform bills. Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday signed the 4 tax reform bills recently passed by the National Assembly, retaining value-added tax VAT at 7.5% and the corporate income tax CIT at 30% without any increments. There were concerns over the potential of the bills in further increasing taxpayers' burden, even as the planned increase in value-added tax from the present 7.5% also generated concerns. You heard that. Now, the first stake here is the CIT, corporate or company income tax. They said it will remain at 30% and it will not increase. Ordinarily, you should trust them, but you know these people, they lie too much. 30% is already very high. If they increase it again, companies will begin charging Nigerians more for commodities and many will even collapse. And next is the value added tax, which remains at 7.5% but is set to increase in January 2026. No one knows what the increase would be, but given how heartless these people are, the increase will be massive. I know they have already proposed a 15% increase, but everybody cried out. Then they said, okay, they will do it gradually, but they didn't say it won't get to that 15%. And I am telling you, if value added tax hits 15% in this country, a bag of rice will sell for around 200,000 naira or even more. So do the math with other food items and you will see that it is a disaster. And why are we doing all this? They say it is to generate more money for the government. Then it begs the question, what does the government actually do with all these monies? You removed subsidy. You said you wanted to have more money for government. You have taken several loans, 55.2 trillion naira in 2 years. Why? You said because you need more money for the government. You have increased import duties, all manner of duties like 5, 6, 7 times within 2 years. Why are you doing this? You say it is because you want the government to have more money. Now you want to increase value added tax from 7.5% to God knows what around January. And you are still saying it is because you want the government to have more money. For God's sake, what does the government do with all this money? You gather all this money to buy Rolls Royce. You gather all this money so that you can renovate buildings with 35 billion naira. You spend 2 billion and pocket the rest. You make citizens go through so much sufferings, yet they cannot see any single thing as benefit for themselves. What a calamity. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that, that update from World Bank began circulating. Look at how the papers reported it. Electricity. Nigeria records largest number without access. World Bank. The number of people without access to electricity in Nigeria is put at 86.8 million, the highest worldwide, says a World Bank 2025 report. This is third consecutive year of this report showing Nigeria in the lowest position globally. The report released yesterday, which covers 2023 and titled Tracking Sustainable Development Goal SDG 7, the Energy Progress Report 2025, also showed that out of the top 20 countries with weakest access, 18 were from sub-Saharan Africa. For the third consecutive edition of this report, Nigeria 86.8 million, the Democratic Republic of Congo 79.6 million, and Ethiopia 56.4 million topped the list, together accounting for roughly a third of the entire global access deficit. Nigeria, DRC, and Ethiopia account for one third of the world's global lack of access to electricity. What a shame. And Nigeria is topping the list with 86.8 million people lacking electricity. This is disastrous. This is shameful. We are being listed with Ethiopia and Democratic Republic of Congo. When you now go and look at these other two countries critically, and you look at the resources they have, the God-given resources that they have, you will understand perfectly why they are in this position. Then you will now look at Nigeria and you will weep. Talking about God-given resources, we are in top 10 worldwide, but there is no good thing in this world that you will find Nigeria in top 10 rating. No good thing. Think of it. If there's anyone, please drop it for me in the comment section. The only thing we boast of is population. Outside population, there is no good thing that you will find Nigeria in top 10 rating. Look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Areg says, I'm sure Nigerian leaders, especially that Tinubu, when they see this news, it gladdens their evil hearts. They are actually rulers, not leaders. And of course, you are right. They will be happy to see this. They come outside and put up a persona as if they want things to work. But deep inside of them, they want Nigerians to suffer. And Kazim Ayodele here says, any government that comes in and solves electricity problems will forever be remembered in the history of our country. As it stands, we need at least 36,000 megawatts of electricity. Dear China, please come to our aid. It is something we can actually do ourselves if we are sincere. Peter Obi broke it down explicitly. Many countries have done this. Why does it look as if it is impossible in Nigeria? It is because of lack of sincerity. And Hajia here says, if I don't provide electricity for you in 4 years, don't vote me in 2027. Tinubu, this should be printed on t-shirts in 2026 and sold nationwide. What a great idea. Tinubu actually said this. He said, by all means, you will have electricity and you will not pay for estimated billing anymore. He said it in these exact words. And he said, if we don't give it to you, if we come to you asking for votes, deny us. That was what he said. So it should be printed on t-shirts for all Nigerians, to buy and follow suit. And this tweet here by Supreme says, electricity, Nigeria now ranks highest in the world for people without access. Yet Tinubu claims he is doing well. How do you celebrate darkness and failure? Shameful leadership. Hashtag Tinubu failed. That is it. They are celebrating failure. That's what APC stands for. And this tweet here by Ruki Omojesu says, let them continue to build trillion naira coastal road that we all know is a conduit to siphon funds, a coastal road that will end in Lagos. They major in minors. So many things left undone, and you are building coastal road. That's what Peter Obi is saying. And Z-Man here says, this is the very indicator of poverty. How can a country in this day and age still be struggling with something as basic as constant electricity? If you don't have electricity, forget about saying you are building an economy, because the dumbest person knows that economy is driven by production. Even if he cannot say it in this exact way, if you ask him to explain it, you break it down for him, by the time he will finish his explanation, everything will fall on the fact that economy is driven by production. And what drives production itself? It is power, energy. That is number one thing. Then we are ranking worst in the world. We have the worst access, 86.8 million. And you are telling me that you are building an economy? And equity zone here says nothing is working. Absolutely nothing. That is the fact. I don't see anything that is working under Tinubu. If you know anyone that is working that I am not talking about, put it in the comment section and let's debate. Security for me is 2/10. Economy, 2/10. Education, 2.5/10. Health, 1.5/10. Tell me what aspect of the economy is working and let's debate. But I'm not surprised. This is the APC. They have come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is why I keep telling Nigerians that for us to have a country that we can be proud of, hell, for us to have a country at all in the near future, we must come together, cast our sentiments aside, and get rid of the APC. But until then, make I still enter town, make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because now, because of una, now I dey here. So don't go away. Don't go away.